Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be a video talking about James Charles's return, and we're going to be discussing what James Charles even did and why he left. So I'm just going to place a trigger warning here. We do have minors involved in the situation and there are no graphic details, but still, just in case, I'm just going to go ahead and warn you of, inappropriate conversations with minors is going to be brought up in this video. So before we do get into it, please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Turn on the post notifications so that you are notified of the next time that I post a video. And follow me on Twitter. My Twitter will be in the description below, and I follow back. So follow me there. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into the video. All right, so before we get into James Charles's return to social media, let's talk about his absence from social media and why that was. James Charles was caught talking to minors. He was caught having explicit conversations with multiple teenage boys and sending them nude pictures and things of that nature, having explicit conversations with them. And it's not just one, it's multiple. James really only fesses up to about 2, but there have been multiple allegations, and not only of him talking to minors, but also of him trying to appeal to straight men and basically trying to, turn straight men. And he's been accused of that for years now. And so there are all these different allegations basically about James Charles's dating life and how it's absolutely ridiculous. At the height of the situation, things got really, really crazy and serious, and there were so many allegations. And James posted a now deleted apology video where he basically allegedly took accountability for his actions. But in reality, in my opinion, what he was doing was trying to come up with ways to defend himself. He said that he was desperate and that, he should just check ID and that this was all basically innocent and that he was lied to and he didn't know that these minors were minors. Then he took a break and with that apology, came back with a new video called having an open conversation, or something like an open conversation, where he's basically doing his makeup and talking about the situation and his return to YouTube and just everything that has happened in the past 3.5 months since he has been gone, which he states is a very long time, such a long time. And he never got to have a break from social media, so it was like weird having a break for him, which I wonder, do people who go to prison say it's so weird that I got to have a break from work for a year? I don't think that that's the terminology that should be used, because James, you didn't just take a voluntary break, you were ran off the internet. Point blank period. It's literally that simple. You were ran off the internet. So call it what it is. James intended for this video to be an overall comeback video, but mainly spoke, I think for 20 of the 30 minutes of this video, talked about the situation and what he's learned from it and tried to clarify some things. So we're going to go ahead and go over that. But first, there's just some things that I took issue with the fact that this was a get ready with me. And James said that he wants to do a get ready with me so that he can speak better and basically be calm and not be he wanted to center himself to be able to speak, because in his last video, it seemed scripted because he kept having to retake what he was going to say. But that doesn't really make sense to me, because how can you avoid being distracted while distracting yourself with your makeup? That kind of doesn't make sense. And honestly, I don't know how his brain works, but I think that it would be better if he scripted something that wasn't as poorly said as what he did say. I would rather something be scripted than for him to sit on the internet for 20 minutes just to defend himself. Because when he was doing his makeup, it felt like he was just saying what he wanted to say. And quite frankly, he didn't apologize for anything. He didn't take accountability for anything. And he said what he wanted to say, but what he wanted to say was wrong. So there's that on that. So I would have rather him just scripted things than say what he did say, if that makes sense. So at first he tries to pretend like he's taking accountability and saying, you know, he should have done his due diligence and checked IDs or checked any identification or any confirmation of like age. He's saying that he was lied to and he was in the wrong for not checking IDs. I am a year younger than James. So I just turned 21, right? I have never in my life had to check an ID. Like, what is happening here to where now suddenly we need to like check IDs? As adults, we need to check IDs. I don't have any friends who have had to check an ID because they've been tricked so many times by minors that they now need to check IDs. Dude, just say that you're attracted to teenage boys, because that's what it is. The boys that have accused him that he's actually admitted to, they look like teenage boys. They look like they're 16 years old. And if you already know that you continuously have these allegations against you, why do you continue to go after people who look the same age as other people who were then found out to be under 18? Why do you do that? Oh, because you're attracted. Just say that. Just say that this is what you're attracted to. You're attracted to boys who are under the age of 18 and straight men. This goes beyond desperation. This goes beyond, you know, oh, I'm a celebrity and I just have all of this. I have all of these people coming at me and they're all trying to trick me. Because there are so many celebrities that are way more famous than you are, have way more people chasing them, and yet they never get caught up with people who are under the age of 18. That just does not happen. So for him to try to make that excuse and make it seem like, oh, you know, I just need to check IDs because I'm so famous. It felt like this whole video was James flexing how famous he is and how he's a target because of how famous he is. It's not because you're so famous. It's because you allow these people to be in your life. You allow this to happen because that's what you're attracted to. Plain and simple. And maybe you need to check ID to protect yourself because you have a problem. There aren't many adults that I know that have this problem. I can tell when someone is in high school because I'm a reasonable adult. I can look at someone and say, yeah, they're in high school. So James, I don't believe that you can't tell if someone is in high school or not. I don't believe that you can't tell if someone is under 18 or not. So don't try to make that excuse. Say what it is. You're attracted to these teenage boys and you got found out. That's what happened. He also keeps talking about how it's all embarrassing, how he's so embarrassed. This isn't this isn't like someone caught you like doing something weird. This is like you got found out for the fact that you go after teenage boys. This is not just embarrassing. He's acting like this is just embarrassing for me. I hated that verbiage. It killed me. That verbiage was so annoying and honestly narcissistic. Like, oh, you know, this is just embarrassing for me. What? Like, you sent nudes to these kids. Like, what are you talking about? This is embarrassing for you. This is much worse for them. This is much worse for the people that are being attacked by your stands right now because you keep saying that they're liars and you keep saying that they're not telling the truth about their stories. You keep saying that. This is worse for them. They're probably currently getting death threats because you have created a false narrative because you know for a fact that you did this. I'm sorry. I believe that he did it. Okay? I think that a lot of these accusations are true. And the ones that aren't true, we can tell that they're not true. But James, these people have screenshots of your nudes. And you said, yep, that's me. So at this point, it's not embarrassing for you, because if it was embarrassing, you wouldn't have sent them in the first place. This goes beyond embarrassing. And that's narcissistic of him to pretend like this is just an embarrassing situation for him. Dude, you got literally ran off the internet because of this. People don't get ran off the internet just because of embarrassing situations. Get that verbiage out of your vocabulary. Like, stop using that word for this situation, because it is not appropriate to use. And then he talks about, I proved the bi-sister situation wrong. And, after all of that, no, you didn't. You know why you didn't? Because now looking at this situation, was Tati right? Probably. There was probably something that made her say that. Because I don't believe Tati would have just said that out of nowhere. Yes, we know she said that she was coached, right? She said that Shane and Jeffree put this bug in her ear. And, but she wouldn't have just said that off of nothing, right? She wouldn't have just said that if she didn't witness some type of behavior. And the fact that we keep having to have the same conversation about you that to me says that there was some truth in that situation. I'm going to keep saying it. I believe that there was some truth in the bi-sister situation. Because why is it that now all of these allegations are coming out, but back then he wasn't doing that? I don't believe that. I believe that James Charles is a sick individual who preys on people. And so I don't believe that Tati was just completely lying, completely making it up, was completely coached. No, she must have seen something and then said something. Then in the video, he gets to this point where he starts talking about how, like, there's all of these accusations and they're just going to keep happening. He knows that they're going to keep happening and he just needs to do his due diligence. But all of these accusations, they just keep happening. When there's smoke, there's fire. So these new allegations that are false keep happening because there are allegations that are very much real. That's why that keeps happening. Because there are a plethora of celebrities, of YouTubers, of influencers, of public figures that aren't going through this right now. A plethora of celebrities that don't keep getting these accusations. He keeps trying to make it seem like he's getting these accusations because he knows he's a public figure with a huge platform and da-da-da-da. And he's just so famous that, like, people just want to make these allegations about him. No, they're making these allegations about you because it's either true or you have done such damage that people will believe it. There are certain celebrities, certain influencers that people won't believe this about. But with you, because of your track record, it's believable. That's why there are a bunch of accusations. Don't try to make it seem like they're just accusations because you're a public figure. That is absolutely, it's just like, dude, do you not know what happened in your own story? Like, are we even watching the same thing play out? Because I mean, dude, like, you did it. Like, you did it. It's not like this is just randomly happening to you. You are not the victim in this situation. This is not just randomly happening to you. Which leads into the Def Noodles situation. Now, I think I might do a video on Def Noodles because I have things to say. But basically, James started to kind of go after Def Noodles. He didn't say Def Noodles, but we all know who it was. Def Noodles basically had this thread of accusations against James Charles, and he ended up using the headline like 20 people accused James Charles, like 20-person victim list. And James just went in on Def Noodles and was basically like, you're just running with any accusation and you're feeding into these false narratives, and you know that some of these are false and you're just trying to get clout and all of this, just basically going into Def Noodles. Now, I used to follow Def Noodles. I don't anymore because he disrespected Jesus Christ, and I don't play that. and so I just unfollowed him. And he's currently suspended now. I don't know why, but in this situation, the thing that I think James doesn't understand is that when you have these many accusations against you, people want to have something that they can look back on and say, okay, here are all of them, because there are so many. So when he put these all in the thread, I don't think, or at least I remember looking at least some of the thread, and sometimes Def Noodles would say, this isn't really like confirmed, or there aren't receipts for this one, but there's receipts for this one. So it, to me, was Def Noodles, I think, trying to keep up with what's going on, keep up with the drama and the accusations, obviously make money, like do the drama channel thing. Like, let's not pretend like this is just reporting. Like, obviously he's going to get something out of this by reporting on the situation. It was a big situation, but at the same time, I don't think that it was necessarily like oh, I'm just gonna make up a 20-person list, because he had 20 different accusations, like 20 different allegations from what I understand. Now, do I think that he probably did sensationalize? Yeah, I do. But at the same time, he wouldn't be able to sensationalize anything if you hadn't done anything, right? Like, you can't say that you didn't do anything. So you're kind of getting what you deserve. And then he said, this is what killed me. He was like, oh, Def Noodle said that there were 20 victims of mine. There are no victims of James Charles. So that whole apology that you did, that whole song and dance that again is now deleted, right? Now you're saying, oh, actually, I take it all back. I don't apologize for anything because there are no victims of me. And then you wonder why you got ran off the internet, because you refuse to take accountability. First of all, even if he did take accountability, I would never support him, because I don't support people who go after minors and like try to turn people, like, that's just gross behavior. But like, at least people would be able, like, there would be an apology to accept. But now saying that you don't have any victims at all, like, now that whole apology is completely null. Then he goes into like all of the new accusations, and basically he tries to make it seem like he's getting taken advantage of. Like, oh, all of these people, they see that I'm on the lookout for a relationship, and they just take advantage of that, and they post our conversations, and they're doing this and they're doing that to me. He basically tried to say that he's the clout, that people just get clout off of him, and his name is clout for them. And he called the accusations a trend, but tried to say that he's not invalidating them. What? Like, when he said that, I was like, he has the absolute utter nerve to try to say this right now. He basically said, I am a trend, I am the clout, and everyone is just like trying to get to me and trying to make allegations against me so that they can be famous. That is literally what he said, basically. Like, if that part of the video, I can't believe anyone else. I wonder if other people okayed that, because there is no way that someone watched that part and was like, yeah, like, that's great for an apology video. That's great for a video where you come back after getting ran off the internet for sending nudes to minors. Yeah, you should do that for sure. Like, you should definitely call accusations just a trend, and like, you should definitely do all of these things. What is happening? What is happening right now? When I heard that, I was honestly kind of shocked, because even though I knew that James Charles has the nerve, I did not know that he had that much nerve. But hey, he proved me wrong. I guess good job on you, James. Like, you proved me wrong in a way, in at least one way. So I guess that was the whole point of your video, right? Because the whole point of any of his apology videos is to prove someone wrong in some way or another, to completely defend himself in one way or another. So good job. I guess you kind of did that. he basically also said that he doesn't have any like screenshots or any real receipts, which I don't believe, because when you have this many accusations on different types of platforms, you're going to have some receipts to back up what you're saying. And unless, of course, James just like to use Snapchat all the time, which if you try to use Snapchat all the time, again, you look like a creep, because only creeps use Snapchat all the time. Like, sorry, like every time a guy's like, oh, can I get your Snapchat? I'm like, ooh. I'm like, Snapchat? Like, first of all, we are grown. Why are you using Snapchat? Let's talk about it. Second of all, Snapchat, you mean the app where all of the messages disappear? Why do you want my Snapchat? What are you hiding? That's my first thing. What are you hiding? Why are you being sneaky? Why are you hiding things? That's weird, right? Same thing with James Charles. You use Snapchat so much. Mind you, he used Snapchat in a lot of these situations, right? Because he wanted the messages to disappear. He knew what he was doing. Goodbye. He knew what he was doing. So of course you don't have screenshots or receipts because you use Snapchat. Thanks. He's basically then just goes on to talk about how he's not desperate. He's just way too famous. Like, he's not desperate. It's just that he's opened himself to so many different people and he's so famous that, like, you know, he just hasn't been able to find love because, like, everybody wants him and he's just way too famous. I felt like this whole video was just James Charles saying, hey guys, I'm famous. Like, did you know that I'm famous? I want you to know that I have 25 million subscribers on YouTube and I'm just very, very famous. Like, that's basically what he was just saying. And yeah, in my opinion, that whole, I'm sorry, but to me, it was just a very long intro to The Bachelor. Like, it was just a very long Bachelor intro. Like, hey guys, I've struck out on love. I've gone through it. People have, like, just hurt me a lot. Have so many allegations against myself, all untrue. No victims here. But I want to find love. So I want to have a more curated list. So I'm going to go on The Bachelor and find the one for me. And that's how I felt. That's literally how I felt about this video. It just felt like a long, corny, cheesy Bachelor intro. So then he just goes on to give life updates or whatever. And so that's all I really want to talk about as far as that video and open conversation. But I also just wanted to show you that James has been posting videos like normal. He came back. Now, if you look, the videos have significantly less views than they usually do. The open conversation video, he had 5.2 mil, and then, you know, the next two videos were around 2 million. Honestly, the last video that he's posted is like 1.5 million, which for James Charles, those are low numbers. And also, if you know anything kind of about like engagement, you would know that YouTubers want to hit about 10% viewership. So if you have 25 million subscribers like James Charles, you would want to hit at least 2.5 million views on each video. And clearly, after his open conversation video, he has not hit that. And also, the open conversation video was not very well received. There were like 150,000 dislikes. There were a lot of dislikes. And even though the likes outweighed the dislikes were very, very much there. And just to wrap it up, as far as James Charles's comeback, he has learned absolutely nothing and he will take accountability for nothing. I think what James is just going to continue to do is just be more sneaky. He's just going to be sneakier about it. But I think that over time, things are going to come out yet again about him. And I'm just kind of sitting and doing the waiting game with him, because there's absolutely no way that he's changed. And there's no way that he thinks that he needs to change. So I don't believe that these situations are over, that these allegations are done. I think that in the next year or so, we're going to see another allegation at least, or something else happen with James, because again, I don't think that he's changed, and I don't think that he cares to take accountability for any of his actions, and will just continue to act as if nothing happened, or as if he doesn't have any victims, or as if he couldn't potentially be at risk of a lawsuit or of legal action. Like, he's just going to pretend that he did his time by being off the internet for 3.5 months, but now he's back and you'll just have to deal with it. And that type of behavior, that mindset really, really disgusts me. But I think that people are starting to wise up, and just seeing how his views have been impacted, even though he still gets millions of views, you can see that he has been impacted. And that's all I think we could hope for, because it's so hard to just completely cancel someone from the internet. But it is nice to see that people aren't just buying into what he's saying. And I think the only people that are buying into what he's saying are teenagers themselves. And we can't really, they'll wise up. Kids will grow up and realize. So that's just what I'm kind of hoping for. And I think that in due time, James Charles will not have a platform. I truly believe that. Or at least I hope that that will happen, because he does not deserve one. So anyways, that is it for this video. Please enjoy this obligatory picture of Justin Bieber as I close out. But yeah, I just want to talk about James Charles' return. I know that I am kind of late, but I still want to talk about his return, because I kind of noticed that he's been like actually posting regular content. And no, like, I definitely wanted to clock him. And I think that even if you feel like you're late, you should still speak about the situation, because the severity of the situation and the seriousness of it should be stated, and it shouldn't just be steamrolled over by James Charles's fame, his influence, and him just pretending like things didn't happen. So I want to talk about it because I felt like it was an important conversation. So that is it for this video. If you did enjoy it, please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. Go ahead and comment down below what you think of the situation, what you think of James's video, just what you think in general of this entire situation. Go ahead and comment that down below. And please do subscribe to my channel. Turn on the post notifications so that you're notified of the next time that I post a video. And follow me on Twitter. My Twitter will be in the description below. And again, I follow back, so please do follow me. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!